ain't Mathin, says Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
In a House hearing Wednesday, Crockett questioned First Lady Melania Trump's reported EB-1 visa, also called an Einstein visa. In 2001, Melania received her green card via the elite EB-1 program. Let's watch.
Melania, the First Lady, a model. And when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what that stands for is an Einstein visa. Now, y'all that don't know, let me tell you how you receive an Einstein visa. You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here.
Republican Congressman from Texas, Lance Gooden, ripped Crockett, writing on X in part, First Lady Melania Trump came to the U.S. the right way, and Democrats are attacking her for it. Yet they ignored the 4-year illegal alien invasion created by Joe Biden's open borders.
Crockett slammed the Trump administration for its immigration crackdown and assault on immigrants who are on valid visas. Take a look at this.
Trump and my Republican colleagues want to restore integrity and security in the visa process is actually a joke. Let me be clear. Integrity is not snatching lawful visa holders off the streets and throwing them into unmarked vans. Integrity is not revoking visas based on social media posts that hurt somebody's little feelings because kids decide that they want to go after Trump or this administration. We have a thing called free speech in this country.
Well, I think what she was referring to right there, to catch up some of our viewers, because she did go on a different note right there at the tail end, was really because they are now looking, apparently, the Trump administration at social media in the vetting process. And so she's bringing that up because it could, of course, impact actions taken due to political speech.
Yeah, which I think is reasonable. I mean, we decide who we want to let into this country. If you are on social media, either expressing support for terrorist organizations or doing things that run counter to American values, I think that should be considered in the vetting process. I mean, frankly, our vetting process for a long time has not done specific vetting on ideology, which has led to a lot of people coming to this country that hold views that are counter to American values. So that should be part of the visa process, in my opinion. I mean, one of the issues with the individual who was recently released by a judge, Mahmoud Khalil, was that he had lied on his visa application about being in a boycott, divestment, pro-Palestinian and functionally pro-Hamas group. And when you lie on a visa application about your involvement in certain political groups, that is grounds for stripping of a visa. And if they had looked at his social media, they may have seen that he was in that group and been able to deny him in the first place.
So if we go with that point, so what about, to counter that, what about the impact of just freedom of speech, being able to say what you want to say, one, and then two, isn't it subjective? So let's say this administration, let's say it's a Democratic president next time. Well, then are they going to say, well, this person is not going with what we want? Like, it's very subjective to start going down that lane. I think it's dicey.
Yeah, it is subjective. I mean, on the free speech point, you're not guaranteed the right to free speech if you are trying to immigrate to the United States. That is something that applies.
No, but it's part of our American values.
Here. Yeah, I mean, culturally, but legally, they don't have to guarantee free speech to people who are applying for visas. And then on the second point that you made, sorry, can you remind me?
Yeah, the subjective.
Oh, the subjective need. Yeah, I mean,
because
look,
another president.
It is subjective. I mean, under the Biden administration, for example, they granted parole status to a lot of people from Latin American countries who they claimed should be granted parole status because they had effectively political asylum because they were fleeing countries that had a high level of violence there. And that was a subjective determination based on what Biden thought that those people deserved. And Trump has subjectively decided that they don't get that. So that's obviously part of immigration enforcement.
But the social media piece is getting to another layer, wouldn't you agree?
Not necessarily. We should probably talk about the Melania visa as well, the Einstein visa.
I know. We're going to get to that.
I know. We're eating up all the time on the other point.
Okay, well, let's jump to Melania. Yeah. Let's jump to Melania. It's a Friday, folks, so we're going to jump around. All right, so back to Melania. Look, I think what she's pointing out, one, this is not a news story. This is not a news story.
Right. People have been bringing this up about Melania for a long time.
Yeah. Washington Post has reported on this back several years ago, I believe it was. I think what she's trying to point out here, as the immigration policies right now are under fire and under scrutiny, is the inequity that someone who was, I think, dating Trump at that time, Melania Trump, or they were in a serious relationship, something of that nature, gets this seemingly pass. She was one of 5 people at that time from Slovenia who actually were granted the EB-1 visa. And she does not have, I would agree with Jasmine Crockett, she does not have any Einstein nature qualities or talents that would put her underneath that program.
So the EB-1 visa does have the Einstein statute in it, but it also has other statutes as well. So you can get the EB-1 visa either through a one-time major international achievement, like a Nobel Prize, for example, but you can also get it by meeting 3 out of 10 specific criteria, including nationally/internationally recognized awards, high salary relative to others in the field, membership in distinguished associations, leading roles in distinguished organizations, or published material about their work. And there's an arts category that explicitly includes modeling, and extraordinary ability means being one of the small percentage who have risen to the very top of their field. She was a supermodel who had worked with very well-known photographers who had graced the covers of numerous fashion magazines, was demanding a very high rate to her work. So I think it's inarguable that she qualified for that arts category in the modeling.
Yeah, I would disagree on that, and we could probably go back and forth on what we consider extraordinary. And I'm aware of all of that list, but I think, was she extraordinary, a supermodel who was extraordinary? I don't know about that one. Just saying.
She was making a lot of money. I don't know.
I'm just saying. Well, really, we don't know how much she was making, because, you know, that's her private business. We don't know how much. We just know that her profile got significantly higher when she started dating Trump, who was extremely popular across the spectrum back then, you know, and it wasn't involved in politics yet. But you're talking about a very wealthy man who had a great amount of influence, and you happen to be dating him. I mean, we just look at the math ain't math. You just happen to be dating him, and you get this EB-1. I don't know. I don't know if the math is mathin', because I don't think other people get that same opportunity, but that's just me. Yeah. All right.
I'll let you have the last word.
Okay, all right. Next up, protesters have chased Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez out of their original wedding destination.